Okay, so the story is that we are getting divorced because it was our decision. It's my best friend. I still love her to death. Like, we still got a child together. We still gonna be hanging out. I'm probably gonna see her most days of the week. But at the end of the day, we got to do. That's it. Look at her, bro. Like, I would never lose this forever. For real. And look.
So we're good, y'all.
For real though. Like, for real.
How does a cheerful mom with over 200,000 TikTok followers end up dead in her bathroom with a plastic bag taped around her head just 2 weeks after filing for divorce? This is not a horror movie. This happened in real life. April Holt, a vibrant 29-year-old mom of two, had the kind of life millions admired on social media. From diaper changes to morning coffee vlogs, she made motherhood look both chaotic and beautiful. But behind those viral videos, something darker was brewing. Something she didn't share with her followers. Something that would eventually silence her forever. On July 31st, 2023, paramedics rushed to April's home in Nashville. Her lifeless body was found in the bathroom, a plastic bag duct taped tightly over her head. Her husband, Donovan Holt, called 911. He told authorities April had taken her own life. The case was ruled a suicide. Closed, filed, forgotten, except April's mother, Jamie Dickerson, refused to believe it. The bruises on her daughter's ankles, the purple marks on her neck, the broken blood vessels on her cheeks. These didn't look like self-inflicted injuries. Jamie couldn't sleep, couldn't eat, couldn't move on. So she started digging, and what she uncovered turned the entire case upside down. Her own 8-year-old grandson remembered hearing a fight that morning. April had filed for divorce just 2 weeks earlier. Jamie found out Donovan had sold his wedding ring before April's death. And when she got the autopsy photos, her heart dropped. The evidence was staring everyone in the face. But no one wanted to see it. Jamie pushed investigators to re-examine the case. Finally, after months of relentless pressure, police reopened the investigation. What they found was damning. The duct tape used to secure the plastic bag, it had only one person's fingerprints, Donovan's. Faced with the truth, Donovan confessed. He admitted to strangling April during a fight, dragging her to shower, and taping the bag over her head to make it look like suicide. Then he walked away.
A mother determined to get answers about her daughter's death leads to a major break in this already closed case. A confession from her killer.
As News 2's Corey Johnson explains, that mom hopes her story will inspire others to keep fighting, even when all hope seems lost.
July 29th, 2023, I get a call that my daughter isn't breathing.
April Holt died July 31st, 2023. Her mother, Jamie Dickerson, sat down with News 2, recalling the days and conversations before the 29-year-old mother of two died at a Nashville hospital.
I've never seen somebody without a soul in them, but I knew. I opened her eyes and I knew. I was like, she's not in there anymore. I just knew. I'm her mom.
According to Metro Police, April was found with a bag over her head, duct tape around her neck in the bathroom of her Antioch home. The autopsy report in November 2023 listing her death a suicide.
Her husband was acting very, very strange. He was holding his head. He was rocking, pacing.
Dickerson says April's son found her unconscious in the bathroom. She also learned that her husband, Donovan Holt, had pawned April's wedding ring a week prior to her death. Dickerson went to police with the suspicion her daughter was murdered. For months, she met with police about the evidence. She tells News 2 the Community Review Board also looked into the investigation nearly a year after April's death.
They said they didn't see any signs of trauma, even though she had bruises, which I had to bring to their attention, even though the autopsy stated she had bruises on her neck, her wrists, her thighs, her ankles. She even had a gash on her inner thigh. I met with the DA. I met with everybody I possibly could. Everybody was like, oh, we don't see enough evidence. We don't see enough evidence. And they just let him be free.
More than a year after April's death came the turning point in her efforts to get justice for her daughter. It came in the form of a confession.
He just goes into how he killed her, and he described how he killed her, that he strangled her, and that then he didn't know what to do, so he drug her to the shower, put the bag over her head and taped it and made it look like a suicide.
Dickerson brought the confession to Metro Police, who released a statement Friday saying 33-year-old Donovan Holt was arrested in San Antonio, Texas in connection to April's death. He'd also confessed to Metro detectives. Authorities say he's indicted for reckless homicide, evidence tampering, and false reporting. On April's autopsy, the cause of death has been changed from suffocation to strangulation and from suicide to homicide.
I think it should be first-degree murder. I need to get these charges upped to what they should be.
Dickerson says she's now fighting for full custody of April's son.
And I said, I'm not going to stop fighting. And I didn't. Even when the case was closed, I know that she would be the one that's just like, you did it, Mom. You did it.
Corey Johnson, News 2.
April Holt didn't take her life. Her life was taken. Now the question is, will justice ever be enough? Stay with us as we break down the full timeline, the disturbing motive, and the unfolding investigation that exposed one of the most calculated crimes Texas has seen in years.
I want to introduce you guys to my daughter. Her name is April Lynn Holt, an amazing mom of a child 7 and 11. And here she is when I come to visit her. This is where she is. I no longer get to go to her house. This is the closest I get to holding her hand. She was found dead on July 28th, and her life was taken from her. I need justice for my baby. I miss her so much. The justice system has an open homicide case, but tells me I'm not their only case, and therefore I'm turning to social media, which I don't know much about, but I need your help to get her story heard. Please help me get justice for my child. No mom should ever have to visit their child like this. I miss her every second. My mama's gonna get justice.
If you enjoy real crime stories that uncover the truth, don't forget to subscribe. Your support helps us share real cases, spread awareness, and give a voice to those who can't speak for themselves. Before we begin, let us know in the comments where you're watching from and what are your thoughts as the story unfolds. Welcome to True Crime Tales, where we reveal the crimes that shock communities and the secrets hidden behind closed doors. These are real people, real events, real consequences. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss what's coming next. Now, let's begin. April Holt was a 29-year-old mother of two and a rising social media figure. She gained popularity on TikTok, amassing over 200,000 followers through consistent uploads of relatable content. Her videos primarily focus on parenting, home life, and personal development. Viewers regularly saw her managing household routines, engaging with her children, and sharing honest reflections on the challenges of motherhood. Her content style was simple, clear, and direct, delivered in a tone many consider trustworthy and down-to-earth. April built her brand on transparency. She documented everyday tasks without overproduction, feeding her kids, organizing her pantry, talking about single motherhood, or discussing her emotional ups and downs. Over time, this approach earned her a loyal following. Audiences viewed her as a resilient, relatable woman navigating life with confidence. She responded to comments, did live streams, and often ended her videos with personal advice drawn from her life experiences. Many viewers stated that she felt like a friend, not a distant celebrity. Despite the curated nature of social media, April's posts frequently included subtle signs of stress. In the months leading up to her death, followers noticed slight changes in her tone. Her smile became tighter, her eyes less lively. She would occasionally post cryptic captions, mentioning big decisions or protecting your peace. Still, most assumed it was typical stress from parenting or online pressure. Then, a major life update shifted the narrative. April and Donovan had been together for nearly a decade. Publicly, not much was known about their relationship, except that they shared 2 children and had relocated to Nashville a few years earlier. Her content rarely featured Donovan. Most of her videos focused on her kids or solo topics. In early July 2023, April Holt officially filed for divorce from her husband, Donovan Holt. The filing was documented in Davidson County Court, Nashville, Tennessee. According to legal records, April cited irreconcilable differences. She also requested primary custody of their 2 children, including child support and spousal maintenance. At the time, April had over 200,000 followers on TikTok. She continued uploading videos during this period, though her tone changed. In several videos, she made indirect references to starting over, being strong for her kids, and cutting off what no longer served her. Her followers noticed the shift. Some commented, asking if she was okay. Others praised her for being brave. None of them knew what was going on behind the camera. According to statements later obtained by investigators, April confided in a few close friends that the marriage had become hostile. She said she was concerned for her safety and expressed fears about Donovan's behavior, especially during arguments. Text messages retrieved from her phone confirmed she had contacted a local women's support organization seeking advice about protective orders. Donovan remained in the home at the time. April was waiting on legal approval to have him removed. Meanwhile, police records show no formal restraining order had been filed. On July 28, 2023, April posted one of her last TikTok videos. In it, she appeared tired, offered parenting advice, and ended with the line, "Better days are coming. They have to." April's social media activity declined in the final week of July 2023. Her last video, posted July 29th, was a muted clip of her sipping coffee and looking out the window, captioned, "Peace isn't a place. It's a decision." It received over 40,000 views and hundreds of comments, many interpreting it as hopeful. 2 days later, April was dead. How well do you really know your favorite influencers? Can you tell when someone is in danger behind a camera lens? April Holt presented herself as strong, transparent, and in control. Her platform portrayed a woman taking charge of her life, embracing independence, and navigating parenthood with courage. But what wasn't seen on TikTok was a real-time conflict, the hidden tensions, and the escalating risks that would ultimately lead to her death. This raises questions about the blurred line between content and reality. How much of what you see online is real? How much is hidden? April's case challenges assumptions about what safety looks like. Her profile was public. Her messages were empowering. But even with thousands of followers and open conversations, the truth remained off camera. In this story, what was hidden became fatal. On the morning of July 31st, 2023, 911 received a call from Donovan Holt around 9:12 a.m. He reported that his wife, April, had attempted suicide and was unconscious in their upstairs bathroom. First responders arrived at the Holt residence within minutes. Inside the master bathroom, they found April Holt on the floor with a plastic bag taped around her head. The bag had been secured with 2 layers of silver duct tape, wrapped tightly just below her jawline. There were no immediate signs of bleeding or visible self-inflicted wounds. Donovan told paramedics and police that he found her like that when he came out of the kitchen. He said she had been really down lately and that she must have done it while he was downstairs. April was transported by ambulance to Vanderbilt University Medical Center. She was pronounced dead at 9:53 a.m. The attending physician listed the cause of death as asphyxiation. The initial police report marked it as a possible suicide. Officers on the scene conducted a brief preliminary investigation. According to their notes, they did not see signs of forced entry. There were no weapons nearby. The bathroom was clean. Donovan cooperated fully, answering all questions and allowing them to search the home without a warrant. However, the couple's 8-year-old son later told a family member, and later a police officer, that he had heard his parents arguing loudly that morning before he left for summer daycare. He said the door to the bathroom was closed when he left, and his father looked angry. April's mother, Jamie Dickerson, arrived at the house shortly after police. According to her statement, she noticed bruising on April's neck and wrists at the hospital. She also questioned the logic of someone taping a plastic bag over their own head. Despite these observations, police did not detain Donovan. The case remained classified as a suspected suicide. April's funeral was held 4 days later. She was buried in her hometown, surrounded by friends, family, and hundreds of followers who attended in person or viewed the live stream online. If someone wanted to end their life, would they go to the trouble of using duct tape to secure a plastic bag? Would you accept this scene at face value, or would you want to investigate it further? Does it make sense that an argument occurred just minutes before the incident, but authorities still close the case?
I just left church, and April's buried about 2 minutes from the church. And I just felt this big need to just be with her, so I just drove over here before going home, and I just wish my baby was here. I miss her so much. I literally want to lay on top of the grave and just hug her. This isn't a pain that I want. I just want signs of peace. Where is the peace?
From the beginning, law enforcement treated the case as an open and shut suicide. Paramedics who responded found April unresponsive in her bathroom. Donovan said he found her like that. He said she had been struggling emotionally and might have done this to herself. Police noted the taped plastic bag and took photos of the scene. No weapon was involved. No blood. No signs of a break-in. Based on Donovan's statement and the apparent absence of foul play, Metro Nashville police quickly marked the death as a suicide. The investigation did not continue past the first week. Donovan was not treated as a suspect. No charges were filed. However, the autopsy report raised immediate concerns. The medical examiner noted bruising around April's ankles and wrists. Petechiae, tiny red or purple spots caused by broken blood vessels, were present on her face, eyes, and neck. These are common in cases of asphyxiation, including strangulation. There were no ligature marks consistent with hanging. These indicators were not typical of a self-inflicted death using a plastic bag. Still, the medical examiner's report did not definitively label the death as homicide. This ambiguity allowed the suicide ruling to stand, at least temporarily. Jamie Dickerson, April's mother, immediately questioned the official narrative. She reviewed the autopsy report. The bruises and petechiae stood out. She had spoken to April regularly and knew she was in the process of leaving Donovan. April had filed for divorce just 2 weeks prior to her death. Jamie did not believe her daughter would have taken her own life. Unconvinced by the police conclusion, Jamie began reaching out to April's friends and relatives. Several close friends confirmed that April had spoken about fear and emotional abuse in her marriage. Some mentioned that April had felt watched and controlled in the weeks leading up to her death. These statements, although not part of the official record, supported Jamie's concerns. Jamie also found inconsistencies in Donovan's timeline. He told police he had stepped out to run errands and returned to find April dead. But timestamps on nearby surveillance cameras and transaction receipts did not fully align with his account. Furthermore, Jamie discovered that Donovan had pawned his wedding ring 3 days before April's death. This information was not included in the original police report. Jamie requested that police re-examine the case. Initially, her requests were denied. She sent multiple emails, made phone calls, and contacted local news stations. When media attention started to grow, police agreed to review the case file. One of the turning points came from April's 8-year-old son. Jamie asked him what he remembered from the day his mother died. The boy recalled that his parents had argued that morning. He said he heard yelling from the bathroom and then silence. This testimony had never been collected by police. Jamie submitted it as part of her appeal to reopen the investigation. She also obtained messages from April's phone. In text sent to friends, April expressed fear that Donovan might hurt her if she left. One message stated, "If anything happens to me, don't believe it was an accident." With this new body of evidence, autopsy inconsistencies, witness statements, the pawn shop receipt, and her grandson's testimony, Jamie formally pushed the Nashville Police Department for a reinvestigation. Under growing scrutiny and media pressure, they reopened the case. Forensic analysis was expanded. Investigators tested the duct tape used to seal the plastic bag. Only Donovan's fingerprints were found. No prints from April. This indicated the bag had not been placed by her. The evidence no longer supported suicide. It supported staging. Jamie's persistence had uncovered a sequence of facts the initial investigation had overlooked. It was enough to issue a warrant for Donovan's arrest. The turning point began with a full forensic re-examination of the materials collected from the scene. A review of the plastic bag and duct tape used to cover April's head showed a critical detail. Only one set of fingerprints was present on the tape, those of Donovan Holt. No other fingerprints were found, not even April's. This discovery immediately raised red flags and contradicted the original suicide theory. With that new finding, the Metro Nashville Police Department compiled a comprehensive 47-page supplemental report. This report included forensic documentation, autopsy reanalysis, digital communications, and new witness statements. It revealed several inconsistencies in Donovan's statements and introduced physical evidence that aligned more with homicide than suicide. The report also contained statements from April's 8-year-old son, who recalled hearing a loud argument between his parents on the morning of her death. He mentioned that his mother had been crying and that Donovan told him to stay in his room. This contradicted Donovan's original statement that he hadn't seen April until he discovered her body. Armed with the new findings, Jamie Dickerson, April's mother, confronted Donovan directly. She had grown suspicious since day one, and now she had evidence backing her belief. Confronted with the forensic report and the growing pressure from both law enforcement and Jamie, Donovan eventually confessed. In his confession, Donovan stated that he and April had gotten into an argument over custody and finances. During the argument, he strangled her in a fit of rage. After realizing she was unresponsive, he attempted to stage the scene to appear like a suicide. He dragged her body to the bathroom, placed a plastic bag over her head, and taped it tightly with duct tape to create the illusion of self-infliction. He then called 911 and fabricated the suicide story. This confession led to Donovan's immediate apprehension. Authorities tracked him down in San Antonio, Texas, where he had relocated after April's death. He was arrested in September 2024 and extradited to Tennessee for prosecution. Donovan Holt was formally charged with 3 counts: reckless homicide, tampering with evidence, filing a false police report. Initially, he entered a plea of not guilty. However, facing the weight of forensic evidence, his own confession, and the witness statements, he changed his plea to guilty in November 2024 as part of a plea agreement negotiated by his legal team. During the sentencing hearing, the court reviewed the timeline of the crime, the staging efforts, and Donovan's attempts to avoid arrest. The court also acknowledged that Donovan had no prior criminal history and accepted his guilty plea as an admission of responsibility. Based on these considerations, the court issued the following sentence: 2 years in state prison, 8 years of supervised community corrections upon release. Community corrections include regular check-ins, restricted movement, mandatory counseling, and employment oversight. This sentence led to immediate public backlash. Many questioned whether 2 years in prison for taking a woman's life and staging a crime scene was sufficient. Social media platforms, including April's former TikTok fan base, erupted with commentary on what they called a light punishment. Some legal analysts argued that plea deals often result in reduced sentences to avoid lengthy trials, while others said this case should have gone to full trial due to the nature of the offense. If April's mother had not pushed for further investigation, the case would have remained closed. If the forensic reanalysis had not been pursued, Donovan's story might have stood unchallenged. If the confession had not been extracted, April's death would have continued to be labeled a suicide. Does this sentence deliver justice? Should prosecutors accept plea deals in cases involving death and deception? What protections exist for victims when initial investigations fall short? Let us know what you think in the comments. Is 2 years in prison for staging a murder enough? Or should the system have done more? After the confession of Donovan Holt and his guilty plea to charges of reckless homicide and tampering with evidence, the case was closed legally, but not socially. Jamie Dickerson, April Holt's mother, immediately shifted her energy into advocacy. She began raising awareness about how quickly authorities had ruled her daughter's death a suicide, despite physical evidence and inconsistent statements from the husband. Jamie pointed out a systemic flaw. Families who suspect foul play often lack the resources or influence to challenge initial rulings made by law enforcement. In April's case, it took months of independent effort, evidence gathering, and public pressure to force a re-examination. By then, valuable time had already been lost. In response, Jamie launched an initiative called Grieve With Me Center. The organization provides free legal consultation, evidence review support, and connections to private investigators for families who believe their loved ones' deaths were wrongfully classified. Within weeks of launching, the center began receiving case submissions from across the country. In a media interview, Jamie stated that the goal is to prevent other families from experiencing what she went through, being told to move on while living with unanswered questions. She explained that many grieving families are dismissed, gaslight, or ignored when they raise concerns, especially when the suspected perpetrator is a spouse or partner. The center also began pushing for new legislation that would require a mandatory second review in cases where a family disputes an initial suicide ruling. The proposed bill would include the right for families to access autopsy photos, case reports, and investigator interviews within 30 days of a death being ruled. So far, 2 state legislators have expressed public support. April's 2 children, ages 8 and 3, now live with extended family members under a permanent guardianship arrangement. Their names are withheld for privacy. According to court records, both children are receiving psychological support. The older child, who heard the argument between his parents on the morning of the incident, has reportedly given detailed statements used during the reinvestigation. Now, let's ask the most important questions. Would you have accepted the initial suicide ruling if you were in Jamie's position? Should law enforcement agencies be required to conduct mandatory secondary reviews in disputed cases? Does a 2-year prison sentence and 8 years of community supervision fit the crime of staging a murder to look like a suicide? How many other so-called suicides are actually murders in disguise? What started as a tragedy shared quietly within a family became a cautionary tale on a national level. April Holt documented her life openly. But the final chapter, the one she never got to share, was rewritten by someone else. The images of her smiling, laughing, holding her children, are now permanently contrasted by crime scene photos showing duct tape, bruises, and silence. This side-by-side comparison of life and death, of content and consequence, now serves as part of education material distributed by Jamie's organization. It is shown during workshops and training programs for family court workers, law enforcement, and domestic violence shelters. In her final words at the sentencing hearing, Jamie said, "My daughter was not perfect, but she didn't deserve to be erased. And now that the truth is out, I will not stop until the system learns to listen to grieving mothers before it's too late." If you or someone you know is facing emotional abuse, physical violence, or threats from a partner, contact the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-SAFE-7233. Help is available 24/7, and all calls are confidential. This case deserves more than headlines. It deserves reflection. So we ask you, like this video, share it with someone who needs to see it, and comment your thoughts below, because silence allows these tragedies to repeat. If you found this story as gripping and heartbreaking as we did, don't forget to like this video and share it with others. And if you want to hear more true crime stories that uncover the mysteries behind these tragic events, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell. You won't want to miss our latest stories, updates, and discussions. Thank you for joining us on this journey to seek justice and explore the truth. Together, we can make a difference. Until next time, stay safe and stay aware.